get started. Welcome everyone to the Midwest Window Cleaning Conference. Thank you everyone for showing up. Some traveled a great distance. I appreciate that. So we've got a list of events today. We're going to talk a little bit about first off hard water stain removal, then some scratch removal demonstration. We'll have some discussion on fabricating debris, quadrant pricing theory, the factor bidding theory. We'll talk about some ladder safety right before lunch. So first off, we're going to start with a little hard water stain removal. And if any questions, any comments, feel free at any time to just speak up and discuss anything you want to talk about. When we think about hard water stain removal, we want to think about what that could be. We could think a lot of different things deposit on the water: silicates, calcium, magnesium. If it's silicates, it gets to be a little more difficult to remove. But calcium and magnesium, sometimes a little elbow grease, wet scrub pad, will take care of that. We stained that up just to show you how bad it could be. Not necessarily going to be that bad at times, but you can use a variety of products to clean that off. Obviously, just wetting it down may take some of the garbage off, but you're still left with those shadow lines. And then what are you going to do? What are some of the products that you guys have used, or if you've used any of the products in the past to deal with hard water stain removal? Anything come to mind? Steel wool. Steel wool.
MDR.
BioClean, MDR.
A1.
A1. Yeah, we got some samples of A1 and MDR. What's that?
Elbow grease.
Elbow grease. What's that? Oven cleaner. Oven cleaner work. The one precaution I would say with oven cleaner.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah, it's dangerous to you, but it's also, if you're not staying on top of it, then what can happen is it can leak into the IG seal and blow the seal, and you've got a blown window and an unhappy customer. Like, what'd you use on my window? Something else, when we get into more aggressive things, oven cleaner, when it gets to be more difficult deposits, we may have to think about moving up to acids. Winsol CC 550, really heavy-duty hydrofluoric acids, things like that that are going to, again, be dangerous to you. But the other issue we run into then is something called tin H Haze. So anyone ever heard of tin H Haze? Okay. Basically, glass, the way it's manufactured, has been manufactured for the last several decades, is it's called float glass, which means it actually comes out of the oven and floats on the layer of molten tin as it comes out on the conveyors. Once that glass hardens and comes off the tin, one side constantly now has minuscule amounts of tin embedded in the glass for its lifetime. Once you take an acid to the tin side of glass, it will haze or discolor that glass. So there's a couple ways to determine which is the tin side and which isn't. You can get a small, powerful little UV light, and once you shine that on the glass, it will reflect slightly gray. Then you know you're on the tin side of glass. That's not really practical a lot of times for us, because most of the time we go to quote a bid, look at a project, it's in the daylight, which makes using one of those small lights almost impractical. So you can take a small sample of the product you want to use and test a panel first. But you also want to make sure the customer knows this is a possibility. But again, once you get to the point where you have to use a product like CC 550, those windows are pretty far gone, and anything you're doing is purely restoration. They're never going to be brand new for the customer. So, any questions? Any thoughts on that? Mike?
One thing that in the field that I've seen done is so that you can get some shade or what have you, is to have an umbrella. And if you can shade the light underneath the umbrella, a lot of times you can't see that kind of shade or that tin side.
So that'll help too. Like a big golf umbrella, Mike?
What's that?
Like a big golf umbrella?
Yeah. Yeah, just get underneath it and just shade the sunlight.
So there's a helpful tip, so you can use that. So again, the more often you can test that, the safer it is for you, because the last thing you want to do is have what was a stained up window and now it's a completely discolored window. They're not going to be happy with that either. So there's a ton of products out there, but you also We also have to learn the difference between what's a stage 1 corrosion, which is just stuff that's called in relief on the glass, it's all on the surface, as opposed to stage 2, which now stage 2 is actual corrosion, it's etched in. Usually that's a silicate, usually that's a glass-like substance or something that came off the building, has set on there long enough to actually bond with the glass. So at that point, what are our options? Well, once it becomes etched in the glass, it's the same as a scratch. At that point, we are talking about scratch removal. And so at that point, it's a whole different ball of wax. Any other questions on the hard water stain removal? Again, depending on what you're using, you want to make sure you're wearing the gloves, got goggles. Some of the smaller stuff, even if I'm using A1 or things like that, I may put on some gloves because I don't want to have the chemicals on my hand.
So I've got a bid that I'm writing for a 4-story building, and almost we have really hard water in our area. I'm from northern Illinois, and on a 0 to 10 scale, it's about an 11. So these windows haven't been cleaned, and it's tinted mirrored glass. So it's been about 2.5 years. The building owner thought they could get by with cleaning the windows every 2 years. So now I'm writing an estimate for them, and I'm trying straight finish